My name is Nora Mulligan, and I am your worship associate this morning. Please rise in body or spirit and join us in singing hymn number 188 in your gray hymnal, Come, Come, whoever you are.
My name is Linda Karen Nicholas, and I'm a member of the Board of Trustees. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the Hudson Valley. Whether you have been with this congregation a decade or more, or there's your first time visiting, or this is your first time visiting, we welcome you. Whatever the faith and traditions of your past, we welcome you. Whatever your theological stance, we welcome you. Whoever you are and whomever you love, we welcome you. Whatever your heritage, we welcome you. We respectfully acknowledge the territory on which our church building sits as the ancestral homelands of the Munsee, Lenape, and Wappinger people. I have some announcements here. A lot. Everyone is invited to stay after the service today for a special workshop led by the law from 11:30 to 12:30. This workshop will focus on ways to be a better ally for LGBTQIA community and supports the congregation's unanimous vote to renew our welcoming congregation status. It's soon going to be that time again. This year's pledge co-chairs, Yaya Alzarak, Christine Clayton, Heather Hewitt, and Selma Chadberry-Mura are so excited to engage in the loving journey of this year's drive to support the kind of congregation we want to be in the world right now. Help us build the kind of place where everyone matters and everyone belongs. Won't you join us? We need some wonderful cupcake bakers to share for our potluck celebratory lunch on Sunday, 4/12. Look for an upcoming e-news announcement or speak to one of the co-chairs. And stay tuned. Also, the Social Justice Committee will host a table during coffee hour to write postcards in partnership with Souls to the Polls in Wisconsin to urge registered Black Milwaukee voters to vote in the election for the Wisconsin Supreme Court, April 7th, 2026. The newly elected Supreme Court will take up voting rights, voter ID requirements, collective bargaining, and reproductive freedom. Come pick up a pack of 10 postcards for only $5 a pack, complete with stamps and instructions. Sit and write them in community and or take it back home. Look for us March 8th and 15th as well. For the most up-to-date information on these topics and others, please refer to our weekly e-newsletter and check our website frequently. And please join us for conversation after the service. If you're present in the sanctuary, please join us for coffee and conversation in Fellowship Hall. If you're just recently joining us and would like to receive our weekly e-news, please email us at uuchv@gmail.com with your name, or fill out a yellow welcome card in the pew, and we will make sure you are added to the e-news list. Also, please remember to silence your phones during the service. Once again, we welcome you to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the Hudson Valley.
It is good to be with you this morning. It is good to be in a community. I can't do these microphones. But it is good to be here. It is good to be here. Thank you to the tech team. And it is good to laugh because it has been a hard week. You know, it has been a hard week. On the back of your order of service, there is another translation of the hymn that we sang at our opening. It comes from the medieval poet Rumi. Come again, please come again, whoever you are, religious, heretic, pagan. Even if you promised 100 times, and 100 times you broke your promise, this door is not the door of hopelessness and frustration. This door is open for everybody. Come as you are. Those words are over 800 years old and speak to us of a vision that is still countercultural today, that there can be spaces and places where we lean into what we have in common, that we can be creative in response to the hurts and harms and evils of our time, and that through being with one another, we can nurture what is holy and good and healing. This has been a hard week for some of us in our personal lives, for all of us in our collective life. And when we gather here in this space, we're using our time and presence and witness to say, places where people gather in the spirit of love matter. And when we make space and time to connect with our deepest selves and one another, unexpected good things can happen, even in times of war and rumors of war. We are thinking of all those people around the world right now who are suffering. And we will ring our bells this morning in solidarity with all those who are seeking to protect their children this morning. And we invite the children of our sanctuary to come forward and ring the bells of our sanctuary for hope, for love, and for possibility. Yes. And may their witness inspire us to be faithful in our own. May it be so.
Our chalice lighting. So loud, I don't usually need this, but. Our chalice lighting words this morning are by Ben Soul. Let us hold a quiet moment together as our chalice is lit. As the wild wind bites, so does the still flame warm us. As the deep snows block our doors, so does the gentle flame bring us out. As the crackling cold air stops our breath, so does the radiant flame draw from us the words we need to give and to receive. Words of greeting, words of comfort, words of solace, words to challenge our minds, and words to bring us to action. Let us gaze upon this, our common flame, so that we remember who we are and what we can do when we are together. Now please join me in saying our unison affirmation. Words are in your order of service. Inspired by love, our mission is to seek our true nature, connect deeply and openly, and act for justice.
You are now invited to rise in body or spirit and sing our songs of praise to all that is in English and Spanish. For our shared time today, we're going to have several encounters with the power of love and what it might do in our individual lives and in our collective life. I also would be remiss if today I did not acknowledge that the wonderful Blake Rowe is visiting us. And his adventures are not done, but it is a gift. It is a gift to have you with us today. And as we gather in this space, we're going to call to mind the possibility of love from an ancient scripture, from the letter to Corinthians. And I invite Aiden Crowder to come forward to lead us.
My George again.
Thank you. Aiden is going to read the plain text and then invite you to read the italics. So Aiden's going to read the plain text of reading number 638 in the Gray Hymn Book, and then I invite us all to respond in the italics. Thank you, Aiden.
638, just so you know. Okay. If I speak in the tongues of mortals and angels, but do not have love, I am a noisy gong or clanging cymbal.
And if I have prophetic powers and understand all mysteries and knowledge, and if I have faith so as to remove mountains, but do not have love, I am nothing.
If I give away all my possessions, and if I hand over my body to be burned, but do not have love, I gain nothing.
Love is patient, love is kind, love is not envious or boastful or arrogant or rude, but rejoices in the truth.
It bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends. Prophecies will come to an end. Tongues will cease. Knowledge will come to an end. We know in part, we prophesy in part. But when the complete comes, the partial will come to an end.
When I was a child, I spoke like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child.
When I became an adult, I put an end to childish ways. Now we see in a mirror, in a riddle.
Then you will see
Now faith, hope, and love us abide, these three, and the greatest of these is love. There you go.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Eden. Faith, hope, and love abide, these three, and the greatest is love. As we enter into this period of meditation, I want to offer words before our deep breaths from a poet from Iran. Her name is Simin Behbani. She wrote these words over 10 years ago and is an elder who resisted both the Shah and the Islamic Republic. She said, "My country, I will build you again, if need be, with bricks made from my life. I will build columns to support your roof, if need be, with my bones. I will inhale again the perfumes of flowers favored by your youth. Once more, the darkness will leave this house. I will paint my poems blue with the color of our sky. The resurrector of old bones will grant me in the splendor a moment of testing. Old I may be, but given the chance, I will learn. I will begin a second youth alongside my grandchildren. I will recite the hadith of love and country with such fervor as to make each word for my people bear life. There still burns in my chest a fire to keep undiminished the warmth of friendship I feel for my people. Once more, grant us strength. Through my poems have settled deep inside. Once more, I will build you with my life. Once more, my people, though it be beyond my means. My country, I will build you again." Let us take a breath. Let us call to mind all who are helping and protecting and nurturing and responding to hate with love. Breathing in, I know I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know I am breathing out. Breathing in, I feel the whole length of my in-breath. Breathing out, I feel the whole length of my out-breath. Breathing in, I acknowledge all my hopes and sorrows. Breathing out, I acknowledge my hopes and sorrows. Breathing in, I dwell in the moment. Breathing out, it is a holy moment. In a moment, we're going to sing a hymn that comes to us from an old, more than 1,000-year-old prayer for peace. It's called Vine and Fig Tree, It's adapted from the books of Isaiah and Micah. It's number 399 in our gray hymn book. It's a beautiful short hymn that we will sing twice. Let's listen to the tune. Thank you. Aiden told us, faith, hope, and love abide, and the greatest is love. So in that spirit, we gather to recommit to our values of peacemaking and justice and love, and we honor our children as they go on the journey of religious exploration. Let us sing to them, Go Now in Peace, number 413, Go Now in Peace.
In our tradition, we find inspiration from varied sources of wisdom, ancient and modern. Our reading today is from an essay selection from the contemporary writer Zadie Smith. All I know is that to get through the next 4 years, we will need all the moral intelligence we can muster. We'll have to develop it like an instinct, like the young hitchhiker. We'll have to be very clear about whose car we get into and how to get out of it, even if it happens to be driving in the direction we want to go. We'll have to learn to protect ourselves and our communities as best we can from the sentimentality, viciousness, and manipulations. We will not fall into fits of self-pity, or if we do, we will remember to go further along the road until we reach self-recrimination too. And we must try, above all, to attend to the afflicted, to the truly vulnerable, even if our minds are on our own leaky roofs and broken cars. To finish, here's a quote for you from Flannery O'Connor herself. You have to cherish this world at the same time that you struggle to endure it. We come together in community to share with one another, to support one another, and to celebrate with one another. We bear sacred witness to each other in this honored ritual. As we begin, we know There are both great sorrows and great joys in our world that must be acknowledged as well. We light our first candle to honor those in pain, victims of violence and war and oppression all around our world. We light a second candle because we understand that amidst all of that pain, there is also celebration and joy in our world. We honor that joy and sorrow are woven together. For some of us here today, this has been a week of life-changing joy that needs to be lifted up in this worship. For others, this has been a time of deep pain and sorrow that needs to be shared to make the burden lighter. If this has been such a time for you, I invite you to come forward to light a candle and to briefly tell us of your joy or sorrow. You may also raise your hand in silent acknowledgement of your joys and sorrows, and we will light a candle for you. Please remember that your joys and sorrows are being shared on the live stream and to the broader virtual community. I have one to begin with. From Monica. Justin and I are thrilled to report that our son Simon was born on Thursday, February 19th. We are so in love with him and truly believe he's the cutest baby in the whole world, of course. We really appreciate the support of everyone who's already reached out. Just want to say thanks and welcome to the world, Simon.
I just want to thank everyone who supported me during the last couple of months. My husband died, and like you just stepped up, I just felt carried and I felt loved. And I know the entire art committee did an awful lot. And also Betsy and Eliana took tables apart and put things away. And just generally, I felt so loved and so supported. Thank you.
Good morning, I'm April. I have a few joys and I hope I articulate them well because they just came to me. The one was when I was walking up to the building this morning, I was just overcome with gratitude for you, Reverend Daniel, that the impact that you've made on this congregation and where we were before you came was like a roller coaster. And I'm so grateful for you. And even like that little sign that's out front that says all are welcome or something. It seems new to me, so maybe someone else put it out there, but I attribute it to you, like it seemed fresh. And then when you were lighting the chalice, you were doing something with your hand that I hadn't seen like over time. And it just made me think of like how much Reverend Daniel brings to this community. And I am so grateful for you. I also want to say in a similar vein that there were many years where the only children here were William, Maggie, Aiden Crowder, or William and Maggie, or Aiden and William, or Aiden and Maggie. And that was it for like years, you know, and I'm so grateful to see all these children and these beautiful kids who are here. It really, I have chills right now. The last thing I want to say is, my goodness, that quote from Flannery O'Connor. So this week was a really hard week, and so you said that, and I was like, wow, I wasn't the only one who had like a terrible week. But as I've had hard weeks, I also am like, wait a minute, I built this life. I actually manifested this life through all the things that I wanted or worked for, prayed for, and yet they're all very hard. And so to hear that truth here just strengthens why we're here. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Betsy Cates. Thank you for saying that. April children are the lifeblood of a congregation. It's really thrilling to see all those kids get up and walk. So speaking of kids, I had a joyful week. I'm so blessed and fortunate. I dodged the snow bullet. I got out of Dodge on Saturday afternoon. I flew out to Portland to spend the week with my kids. My daughter came down from Seattle. It was a week filled with cute puppy and just lots of rain, but so what? We saw the Sun Ra Orchestra, not orchestra, orchestra. Unbelievable. It was so good. And just a David Hockney exhibit that knocked our socks off. But to me, the most thrilling thing that happened while I was out there, and I was not allowed to post about it on social media, my son and his girlfriend became domestic partners. Yeah. And they said it was not a big deal, that it was for insurance. But to me, it said they were committing to one another. And she is lovely and so in love with him. And it's just brought beauty and joy and happiness to all of us. And her parents came out also. Not for that, but we just all happened to be there. And we were very blessed.
That's it.
Hello, I'm Ellen. I have a sorrow and a joy. They're kind of related in a way. The sorrow, besides the sorrow that we're all feeling this week for what our country is doing in our name, is that in the city I lived in for about 50 years, a man was cruelly dumped in a deserted place, a man with blindness, a man who's a refugee. He's a Rohingya minority person from Burma. They were cruelly oppressed, and many were able to escape. Nurul Aman Shah Alam died. He was dumped, and it hurts even a little more, you'd have to be from Buffalo, that it happened outside of Tim Hortons, which is a many location coffee shop where people go to gather with their friends and family. This has brought such shame on our city and on our country. The joy, I think we all celebrate when someone we knew when they were very young accomplishes something extraordinary in the world. And my daughter's good friend from college, Caitlin Chandler, whom they met on a study tour of Cuba through NYU, which tells you something. Caitlin, immediately after graduating, became an international journalist. She spent several years in Africa during the AIDS crisis, and then went on to work in many other countries. She's based in Berlin now. She was able to get an article into the Sunday Times magazine last week. And if I'd been here last week, I would have spoken about that, about refugee conditions in Bulgaria. It's an amazing accomplishment for Caitlin. I'm sure there will be many more to come, and we wish her safety in this kind of perilous field that she's in. But we're very proud of her. So a sorrow, many sorrows, and a bit of joy. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Christine Clayton. My first candle is for dear friends of ours, Alan and Steffi Stein. This is a bit for Matt as well. Alan has been a lifelong mentor to Matt and took a fall, is hospitalized right now and suffering from infection. He's in his 80s. And I know this is tough for Steffi as well. They have been just really important, and maybe even one of the reasons Matt and I got together. So we're holding them dear in our hearts. I also just want to say March is a tough month for me coming up. Some major life decisions are being made that I have to make this month, and just praying for wisdom. I wish you can wish wisdom for me right now. Thanks.
have a friend, Sherry Gemma, and I ask you all to hold her in the light and send her as much hope and healing energy as you can. Sherry and I met about 15 years ago at a Theta healing seminar, which is a healing technique that I practice and teach, and the longest class in this technique is 3 weeks. And she and I met at this 3-week seminar in Idaho, and have kept in touch since then, only through Facebook, strangely. Not strangely, but it's one good thing about Facebook. Sherry's from England. It's a 6-hour time difference, and it's just a long ways away. And she Facebook messaged me a couple of weeks ago, and I was hoping that someone had hacked her account, but they hadn't. And she said, "I just want you to know I've been diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer, and I didn't want you to just hear it from someone else." Which was so kind and sweet of her. We're not close, we're, the kind of friend that you have that every once in a while, every few months, you connect with on a Facebook message, and you love their posts and stuff. So even in this crisis, she's thinking of how casual friends might feel about what she is going through. I was actually able to get the founder of the technique to do some healing on Sherry. Other than that, all I can really do is hold her in the light and send her healing. It's every once in a while, Facebook message. I've told her I'm more than happy to give a session or to talk, but it's too much for her right now. She can't do it, especially with the time difference. And so it's a sense of knowing that someone that you care about is in a huge crisis, and you can't go over with dinner, and you can't hang out, and you can't, it's a helplessness. And it's also and I'm sure that many of us have faced this, and I have faced this, unfortunately, of at what point are you praying for healing, and at what point are you praying for acceptance and a peaceful, whatever it is, transition or and Sherry is very much she finally went on Facebook in general and said, here's what's happening, and she's asking that we please not sort of transmit our despair and worry to her, but hold her in the highest hope and light. And I just thought that you guys could help me do that. So again, her name is Sherry Gemma, and she's an incredible woman, and we're blessed to know people in whatever way that we can and for whatever time we can. So thank you.
Hi, my name is Scott. Boy, one thing about this administration, it's not boring. Every day something else goes on. I have a joy. I was asked to share my recovery story, my 12-step recovery story, on a major podcast, and it always feels good to give and to inspire, or to just keep it green, as we say. Led me to a prayer that I wrote this morning. May you find peace today, and may you find love in your heart and compassion in your soul. May you find one more reason to give and one less reason to take. May your thoughts be of equity and kindness, devoid of rancor and judgment. May your actions reflect your serenity. May you find peace today, and may it be so. God bless everyone.
Hi, my name is Anne Marie, and my pronouns are she, her. Let's see. There are a couple of joys, but with my children. But before I even tell them, I gotta say, I think this is interesting to pass on. The more challenging the times become, the more liberal I become. I mean, it just keeps pushing over there, right? Okay. My son, I put a piece of his artwork in the show, the NWA show. I've been trying so hard to get a show together for people who are neurodivergent, and finally I said, hey, this is it. I'll get him in the shows I find. So that's really exciting for him. And then the other thing is, this is kind of amazing to me. My daughter had an injury at work, so now she works dispatch. But she lives out in Portland, Oregon, and this is the 4th year. I mean, it's like, wow. This is her volunteer. She works for the Bureau of Land Management. She was a firefighter for all the major fires out there. And she, on her free time, this is the 4th year, her annual Run for the Wild, all the money, 100%, goes to the firefighters who have been injured and their families. And she's a whole day thing on Mount Hood, a family kind of event, and I donate things to it because they have a, what do you call it, an auction or something. Okay, thank you.
Hi, I'm Mike. I think Portland is a theme that's going to be running through a lot of stories today. A few years ago, as a Christmas present, Margie said, let's join Ancestry.com. And I never really took it seriously till a few weeks ago. So I'm an only child. My father left and he went out to the West Coast when I was born. He had a family a little later. He had 2 sons who I have no relationship with. I have 2 step siblings also I have no relationship with. Last year, a woman reached out to me on Ancestry. I responded. A year went by, I never heard anything. And then a month later, she responded again, and we have gone back and forth. We shared a lot of information. We've had 3 FaceTimes that I think were each about 2.5 hours. And next month, Margie and I are going out to Portland, where I'm going to meet my sister.
Aww. Good Lord.
I had a joyful experience last week when I was touring colleges with my son, Jalen. My really good friend for many, many years, Rob, his child, February Schneck, graduated from Ithaca College and happened to be there when we were there, and invited us to meet him and so he could talk about it. I'm sorry. Feb prefers they, them, so. I used to read to him as a child when he was Ben Schneck, and then to see him graduating from college as an adult human being and really seeming to, he's in theater, he had been at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, he has something opening in Chicago in a few months, and he was currently working at the Barnes & Noble, so he seemed to really have a lot. But one thing that he said to me was that he had learned that it was important as an artist, as a producer and or director, that he get credits for those productions and that he gets paid some type of money under those credits. And I was just amazed at the wisdom of this 22-year-old to know and to see that kind of depth and understanding of where he wants to go. And it was just a joy.
We light one final candle for all the joys and sorrows. Ouch. All right, we're going to assume that's lit. For all the joys and sorrows that remain unexpressed, and for those outside our walls who are searching for a place to bring the wholeness of their lives and be received with love.
pause, contemplation, centering down. Spirit of life and love and possibility and truth and growth, be with us today. So much is unfolding all around us, even in midwinter. So much is unknown, so much is angering and fearful and scary. So much is inviting us to change and grow and be present. May we have the courage to surprise ourselves and show up in new ways, in healing ways, in the days and weeks ahead. May it be so. The poem that we heard in our meditation includes the line, "I will build you again, if need be with bricks made from my life. I will build columns to support your roof, if need be with my bones. I will inhale again the perfume of flowers favored by your youth. I will wash again the blood off your body with the torrents of my tears. And once more the darkness will leave this house, and I will paint my poems blue with the color of our sky." Earlier this week, I was reflecting on the unique confluence that is happening right now, where the holy seasons of Ramadan, which is a time of fasting and almsgiving, and Lent, which is a time of fasting and repentance, and even the preparations for Purim, which is a really joyful holiday, but right before the holiday, the big celebration, you have a day of fasting. That in each of these traditions, Christian, Jewish, Muslim, there is a time in this winter moment where people are invited to personally let go of something and also hold on to the fact that as a group, we still have responsibilities to one another. And I was trying to figure out, as Unitarian Universalists, what does this mean for us? This time of year where there are multiple ancient traditions saying, look at your life, let go of something, and give something to others. There are sort of, in the old school, 3 ways of thinking about being Unitarian Universalist. You can think about being UU in as many ways you want, but in our tradition, there's sort of 3 types. The oldest one is that we are a very liberal form of Christianity, focused on the teaching of Jesus, the ethics of Jesus, but not, worshiping in the traditional Orthodox way. That's something that if we went on a bus and went to Boston, we could go to King's Chapel, where they're doing so much work to wrestle with their colonial heritage. That's a classic example of a liberal Christian Unitarian congregation. But most of our congregations in the association today are either humanistic or pluralistic. And humanistic Unitarian Universalists, we focus on what's happening right now in the world. We're curious about, in our sermons and worship spaces, what is happening, whether it is in nature or just in the current events of our time. And we commit to gather to live our values and try to grow as people and explore what is happening in the present moment to us as people. In the pluralistic style, we say we are people who are still part of these ancient religious traditions, even if we wrestle with them and even if we don't always like them. But as people, we gather in sanctuary to try to explore what might we learn from these ancient wisdom traditions. And we say that each wisdom tradition has something to teach, and that we spend time and gather to figure out what lessons come to us from these ancient ways of trying to encounter spirit, and what might it mean for us. And in most of our congregations, we're all a little blend of some of these. And as non-creedal folks, really, it's each one of us is on a journey to figure this out. But I've been struck by the fact that I have read several essays recently of folks who are atheists, proud atheists, adopting practices of fasting for Lent, or almsgiving in Ramadan. And their essays are beautiful testaments that even if on a personal journey you've arrived at a different place, there's still something in these ancient ways that might invite us to transformation. Safi Ansarni, who's an attorney and a self-described Muslim atheist, says, "In my life, I've long had a position that I can hold on to what was meaningful in the tradition I was brought up in. I'm not interested in just destroying what was. I want to commit to what is meaningful and adapt it to my own purposes." Another person beautifully expressed, Ruth Medger, her name is, she said, "I grew up with two strong parents, and each one gave me their own wisdom and experiences. One of them was a very devout Muslim, one of them was a very devout Catholic, and I'm a very devout atheist." She said, "But she has adopted from her father's side a deep commitment to the fasting of Ramadan. And she taught me something that in my ignorance I did not know, that one of the best practices," she says, "of Ramadan, besides fasting, is charity." She said, we're not just saving money for ourselves by not eating 2 meals a day. What we do is then take the money that we have not spent on ourselves and give it to the wider community for our members who are struggling and hurting. She said, quote, "You can't help but have a heightened sense of empathy for those in your world who have less. When all you think about is food, your heart breaks for those who don't know when they're going to eat next." And she said, "Even as I'm fasting, I know at day's end I can eat when the sun sets. But that's not true for everyone." And then there was another person in Sojourner magazine, Chelsea Link, who's a 30-something self-described humanist, who said, "I really like Lent. It's giving yourself a set amount of time to break a bad habit or form a new good one, and they seem like an opportunity to go in a different way. And we're not doing it just because we were told to do it. We're doing it because it's a benefit to us." Now, some of the old school humanist critics like Tommy Flynn, who's passed away, but he used to be the head of the Council for Secular Humanism, would probably say something like, "Just because religion is well behaved today doesn't mean it can't bite." And he in that school of thought was very suspicious. Don't get too close to these old traditions. They might come back. They might come back in the cruelty that some of us experienced when we were younger. But Ruth and Chelsea and all of these people say, that is true, and they're still walking around. These traditions are still here, and we can engage them with clear eyes. And what I learned from Ruth was this push that the act of fasting isn't just about self-improvement. It's about changing one's awareness and relationship to the wider community, the whole community. And if anything in this world right now needs effort and support, it is to change our conception of who we are loyal to, who we are connected to, how we are living as a group with our responsibilities to one another. Many years ago, the Unitarian Ogden Vaught, who is a Chicago Unitarian, wrote a gorgeous prayer in another time of pain and suffering. And he wrote, "Before the wonders of life, we acknowledge our failure to see and to revere. Before the sanctities of life, we are ashamed of our disrespect and indignities. Before the gifts of life, we own that at times we have made choices of lesser goods. And here today we seek the gifts of the Spirit. Before the heroisms of life, we would be enlarged to a new devotion." I read this prayer a few days ago when I was commuting up from the Hudson River, along the Hudson River from the city, and I remember fragments of ice floating on the water. I read the prayer again this morning, and all that ice was gone. But I saw birds floating over the river. And when I see those moments, it truly does feel like we are surrounded by miracles, by the wonders of life. And my sorrow and my anger, and perhaps yours as well, comes from the fact that we are surrounded by these miracles, and so often we choose to treat one another terribly. And we don't have to. And we don't have to. Which is why those words resonated so much. Before the wonders of life, we acknowledge our failures to see and to revere. I've received notes from people in congregation concerned and angry about the revelations of the Epstein files, horrified by the Nazi sign that was drawn in a park in Cortland, angry about the ongoing hunger and suffering in Gaza and the silence they see around it, and truly fearful about what is to come with this unfolding war with Iran. And as Ellen named, there's much suffering here in New York State for those who are victims of the abuses of ICE agents, many of whom are younger than me. But at the same time this week, I also spoke with someone who said, I went to my first protest. And I saw people come to this building. I didn't even know they were scheduled to do this, and just began cleaning everything. They shoveled around this campus. They found ways to clean and vacuum. They called friends who they were worried about in the snowstorm. I know people are trying to figure out how to support young adult organizers who are doing tremendous work, brave work, against the abuses of ICE, and pushing me to think about how I can be a better presence. Earlier this month, I was at a protest in Lower Manhattan near some of the federal buildings at 26 Federal Plaza. And I was amazed at how many high school students had come out on a Friday afternoon to speak, and to speak movingly, to speak about their families, about what they believed in, about how much their parents had struggled to come to this country and start a new life, and now how many of them were scared. Scared of young men working for ICE, probably some of whom grew up in Westchester County. And I think most about this young woman who just said, she had purple hair, and she said, we just want to live a simple life and be happy. But we can't. And I want to change that. And to me, that was the most probing and powerful invitation and damning statement of the moment. That a thoughtful young person who cares about their parent is like, this isn't right. Earlier this week, Tyrone Davis reminded me, and several of us, that the job of our religious institutions is not to say all is well when it is not, but to say all is not well. But we can together journey to figure out how to live our values and work for something that is better and more healing. The promise of peace can't be a false promise, but it can be an action and a habit and a way of life. There will be so much to distract us in the coming days and weeks, and perhaps these invitations from the ancient holidays to reflect, to let go, to pause, to reconsider can stay with us. You think about it, the figure Moses, who's revered in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, before Moses revealed the 10 Commandments, went up on a mountain for 40 days in a time of contemplation, according to the tradition. If Moses could take time for contemplation and pause, you can. Maybe not 40 days, but maybe 40 minutes each day. Maybe we can support one another to get recentered, to go deep, to consider how these old practices may speak to us to, yes, grow personally, but also grow together as a people dedicated to hope and love and charity and possibility and justice. So let's accompany one another through the rage and the heartache and the hope and the joy to meet this moment, whatever it brings. To grow spiritually, to move in solidarity, to create a house of hospitality for all people. From Tehran to Buchanan, love is needed in this world. It is good to be with you. May it be so.
Each week we make an offering from the bounty we're blessed to enjoy. We do this in a spirit of love and generosity, aware that we have benefited from those who have gone before, those who in their turn gave generously. Our offering goes to support the work of love and justice undertaken by this community. Today's offering will be shared with the SPCA of Westchester, a no-kill 501c3 not-for-profit animal welfare organization dedicated to saving homeless, abused, and abandoned animals and to protecting animals from cruelty and neglect through education and enforcement of humane laws. For more information, please visit the website spcawestchester.org. Please refer to our e-newsletter or website for more information. You can make your donation in several ways. If present in the sanctuary, you may give cash or a check in the offering plate as it comes by. From your homes, you can make your donation via credit card or PayPal using the links provided in the e-newsletter, or by visiting our website, UUCHV.org. Or, if you prefer, you can always mail us a check. The offering will now be given and gratefully received. Please join me in the dedication of the offering. The words are in your order of service. May these gifts and the work of our hands and hearts give power to all we stand for as a community of faith. Now please rise in body or spirit and join me in our final hymn, number 170 in the gray hymnal, Gentle Angry People. extinguishing the chalice, the words are in your order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
That beautiful closing hymn comes to us from a really sad moment. It was sung for the first time after the assassination of Harvey Milk in San Francisco. And out of that grief and pain, Holly Near and other folks created a song of beauty and hope and possibility. So as we gather in a moment with a lot of grief, remember there's still so much beauty and good and love that we can nurture together. May you go in peace and find and receive love. May it be so.
Daniel wanted me to play. Daona Naish. Yeah.
Is that for like a bass sound kind of thing?
Well,
what was
you
it?
know, like
Was it written somewhere?
It's not. It was a. I guess it's an Arabic melody and words and stuff. So I figured I'd just try to get that sort of more Arabic thing by making. If you mute it and hit it, it becomes like a percussion sort of.
It sounded like a bass.
Yeah.